of order, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising today in accordance with Standing Order 39 and question number 575 on the order paper regarding the government's new carbon tax. According to O'Brien and Boss, order paper questions are a way for Parliament to obtain, quote, detailed, lengthy, or technical information about the government's plans. Since Confederation, members have had the right to submit these questions to the government or to a specific ministry for a response within 45 days. It's a way of obtaining specific information from the government. It's also one of the ways the House keeps the government accountable. It is a basic right for members of Parliament to ask these questions on behalf of Canadians. The Environment Minister did not attempt to answer my question number 575, and the questions I have raised therein, even in the slightest. I have in my possession here the purported response that was received from that department. I also posed questions to the Department of Finance and ESDC, and they did not respond. Mr. Speaker, let me just highlight the questions that were asked in writing and were submitted in proper format. Quote, how would the carbon tax impact family budgets? How many people would a carbon tax push below the low-income cutoff line? By how much would it increase the market basket measure of goods, a measure used by Statistics Canada to determine the affordability of common household goods? How would it impact people in each province? How would it impact grocery bills? How would it impact electricity bills? The Environment Minister provided nothing more than vague talking points in her response, and what little substance the Minister did provide is concerning. She said, quote, any impacts on business and consumers will be modest, end quote. A carbon tax is a big deal. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says that the cost will be approximately $1,028 per person, or $4,112 for a family of four. Does that sound modest to you? Does this government expect Canadians who live on fixed incomes to find an extra $1,000 per person in order to pay for this costly new government scheme? Professor Nicholas Rivers has said that the carbon tax would add 11 cents a litre to gasoline, 10% to electricity, and 15% to natural gas. I could go on with
order. I think the member is going on and is getting into debate, so I'd like him to stick to the point of order, if you would, please.
If I could just conclude by saying, Mr. Speaker, the questions I was asking was not in search of opinions or talking points from any particular political party, but for specific numbers. Presumably any government that's proposing to implement a tax of this size, this magnitude, and with these consequences would have calculated the actual costs and impacts on Canadian families. That information, I'm sure, exists within the Government of Canada. It will have been documented and it will have been provided to ministers before such a policy could ever have been considered, and certainly before Treasury Board would ever approve it. And given that it must exist, it must be provided to Canadians. That is why I asked for the government to do so through very specific use of order paper questions, to which the government is bound by parliamentary tradition, as old as this country, to respond. It has not responded, and therefore it falls to you, Speaker, as the presiding officer of this House, to ensure that the standing orders are upheld, that the questions are answered, and that Canadians get all of the facts before they have to pay for the costs this government will impose upon them. Thank you.